I've been fighting on Cage Warriors for almost 10 years now, and I've won every fight I've had. I honestly believe I'm unbeatable in Cage Warriors.
I love competition. I want to see what I can do, and basically I want to be the best. I want to be the best I can be, the best me I can be.
I've been a two-time world champion on Cage Warriors. I was a featherweight champion and the bantamweight champion.
He's a 10-year veteran. He's been around the block a time or two. He hasn't fought in a little while, and he's expecting to come in here and win at home, and I have different plans for him.
It means a lot to me for them to put it on in Glasgow. My mates are going to be there, my family's going to be there, lots of people are going to be there that I know. That always tends to bring out the best in me, and we'll see what happens on December 8th.
I think we match up well. I think it's going to be a war. It's either going to go the distance, or if there's a finish, I hope it's me standing over him with a knockout.
It's like the first step in a new journey for me. Like, I'm moving to flyweight. There's some interesting matchups, and like, you know, I think I belong in there with the best one.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the main event of the evening. 3 5-minute rounds scheduled at a catch weight, 130 pounds. Making his way to the cage first, fighting out of the USA, here is Brandon Hempleman.
Main event time, fight fans, and first to the cage, and a warm welcome to Brandon Hot Rod Hempleman. He comes from the United States of America, representing Primal Tribe MMA and Team Sklavos. He comes also with a record of 8-1. Now, Mr. Hempleman is a small-town mixed martial artist who's travelled a long way over to hostile territory to take on the crowd favourite. He's used to being the underdog, coming from the small gym, but he's learned to feed off of this, and he'll need all of the self-motivation and belief he can muster tonight as he faces a seasoned and decorated pro on hostile territory. He's a former gymnast, and interestingly, one of Paul McVeigh's coaches, John Kavanagh, once told me that he would prefer to train someone with a gymnastic background due to some of their physical attributes.
This is the point I was going to make, John, is that we make a lot about wrestlers being a great base because of their work ethic and their tenacity, and of course it is a combat sport. But the power to weight ratio of a professional gymnast is phenomenal. Their balance, their flexibility. As a base for mixed martial arts, it is a phenomenal sport to come from. But we don't get to see it all that often, so I'm incredibly excited to see what someone like Brandon Hempleman can put together here tonight.
8-1 in his career, and he's spent some time with the likes of Scott Jorgensen, so he's in some very good company back home in the States.
Yeah, and it's not just 8-1 in his career, John. It's already 4 wins from 4 appearances in 2012 alone. So he is on an impressive streak.
Fantastic momentum for Brandon Hempleman.
And next, making his way to the cage, fighting out of the red corner, from Glasgow, Scotland, here is Paul McVeigh.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reception for Paul Metabolic McVeigh. He is representing the Dinky Ninja fight team, and he comes with a record of 18-7, with a Cage Warriors record of 8-0. So this is Cage Warriors' 100th fight of the year, and it's a marvellous coincidence that it's Paul McVeigh that features after that 8 times appearing for the promotion and securing 2 belts at 2 different weight classes. Over that period, McVeigh has helped build a hugely successful fight team whilst fighting as many as 10 times in a single year. These days, he's a little more measured, but the Jiu-Jitsu black belt will be looking to accelerate towards claiming the flyweight title, which would galvanise his name in Cage Warriors history by becoming that 3-weight champ.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have Paul McVeigh here on Cage Warriors. As you mentioned, John recently got his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, long overdue, a lot would say. But more than that, he's a student of smart coaching overall. He really delves into everything that encompasses being a mixed martial artist and a martial artist in general, how that helps run the gym, how that helps perfect him as a fighter. And at this stage in his career, we really could be seeing the best Paul McVeigh ever, and at a weight class that's totally new and open to it.
Yeah, very intelligent, as you were alluding to. You know, every single element of sports, and not just the fight game. He tries to take it all, and he is a very dangerous individual indeed. Great to have him back, Paul Metabolic McVeigh.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Kelvin Hall here in Glasgow, Scotland, this is the main event. 3 rounds scheduled at a catchweight 130 pounds. The 3 judges scoring this bout at cage side on the 10-point must system: Ben Cartledge, David Lethaby, and Dane Weir. And when the action begins inside the cage, your referee in charge, Mark Goddard. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are ready and the fighters are ready. Scotland, make some noise if you are ready! Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist standing 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in officially 130 3/4 pounds. He brings an outstanding professional record, standing at 8 victories, 1 defeat, and 1 draw. Hailing from Twin Falls, Idaho, USA, here is Brandon Hot Rod Hempleman. And next, his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. His style, Dinky Ninjutsu. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, he weighed in 130 3/4 pounds. A 25-fight veteran, he is perfect in the cage as a cage warrior. 8 wins and no defeats, overall 18 victories and 7 losses. Tonight, he returns home here in Glasgow, Scotland. He is the former Cage Warriors featherweight champion, the former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion of the world, Paul Metabolic McVeigh.
Here it is then, Josh, the main event of the evening. Mark Goddard has the pleasure of officiating this one. The men that need no introduction now, Mr. Hempleman in the black trunks and Paul McVeigh in the white shorts. Scheduled for 3 at this catchweight 130 pounds.
Well, very light on the feet immediately. Brandon Hempleman throwing that front leg to several different target areas already.
McVeigh might have the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but the setup at the grip house where the Dinky Ninjas are, they have everything covered. The striking will be very sharp indeed. He's a very modest individual. But this is, don't underestimate how big a deal this is to Paul McVeigh for the show being here in Glasgow in front of his team and on Cage Warriors, where he says, I think I'm unbeatable on the promotion.
Yeah, I mean, a whole year out of the cage for Paul McVeigh. In that time, Brandon Hempleman has fought 4 times and won 4 times, so could ring rust be a factor here for Mr. McVeigh?
I actually had a conversation. I won't tell you his exact answers because he's a comedic character. He doesn't like the phrase. However, he thinks it's nonsense. You know, he's always training. He's always in a camp, if you like. So he doesn't believe. He thinks that might just be an excuse that people use. First blood drawn to Paul McVeigh. Hempleman has a slight cut above his right eye.
Oh, picks that single up, and look at the balance. Oh, huge left knee. The balance of Brandon Hempleman in that single leg defense was phenomenal. That's got to be the gymnastics base.
You wanted to see it, Josh, and there it is.
Did.
Lots of spring. You'd expect lots of good footwork and overall that balance, that core stability. Such a tight team, the Dinky Ninjas. While Paul was preparing for this battle, he was also preparing the coaching and the fight camps for all the other guys that we've seen this evening and the other guys that fought last weekend. He certainly enjoys the challenge.
Searched high with that kick, a few times up the open side of Brandon Hempleman.
Brandon's being encouraged by his corner. He's having success with his hands at the moment. Those kicks are hurtful as well.
Yeah, they're really starting to mount up in the first round here, coming quite consistently at this stage.
It's incredible to think that McVeigh's fought and been very successful at featherweight. He said it should never have happened, and it was a few years ago, before the big weight cuts really came into play.
It's not just that, John. It used to be that the lighter weight categories just weren't as prevalent. It was hard to get matchups. They didn't have the coverage and the media attention. And now with the larger promotions, particularly the UFC, opening up the flyweight division and the bantamweights, the opportunity presents itself for a lot of fighters to really find out how far they can push themselves at these lower weight categories.
You might associate Dinky Ninjas with the fact that they're small guys. That's actually a misconception. It was a gang of people around the Glasgow area, and they stole the name, and a fantastic name it is as well for a fight team.
Brandon Hempleman's keeping a very high and tight, composed guard with his hands here. Just the one takedown attempt from Paul McVeigh thus far. The rest has been a Thai boxing fight in effect.
Yeah, lots of respect shown from both of these guys. They're exchanging and giving each other the nod.
Oh, good check from Brandon Hempleman there.
Yeah, that kick came in very quick as well. Yeah, you've got to look out. That left hook that Hempleman's throwing is vicious. McVeigh does not want to get nailed with one of those. Yeah, he needs to keep his chin tucked.
A lot of movement from McVeigh at the moment. Brandon searching for a big left hand in the exchanges.
Hempleman is throwing with real ferocity. This round's gone very quick indeed, and we're down to the last 15 seconds. Yeah, slip and rip from Hempleman.
Jumping front kick from Paul McVeigh.
Yeah, good competitive sportsmanship from both of these fighters.
Yeah, I think at the same time, both guys are very fired up here. There's good pace, as we always expect from the lighter weight fighters. Both guys throwing very consistently.
Exchange of leg kicks there. Really throwing their hips into those. There's McVeigh catching.
And look at the balance here, John, as he hops all the way up, kicks free, punches impressive. At the same time.
Wow, that is really quite something. And you can see the face of Hempleman every time he throws something. You can see the fibres in his body twitching as those punches come round and those kicks go thudding in. Very close round indeed.
Yeah, been interesting to see if game plans change either way here in the second. Both guys seem very content to fight it out on the feet, though.
Yes, well, they're certainly battling it out there at the moment.
Quite surprised the Glasgow crowd aren't getting a bit more behind Mr. McVeigh here.
Well, it's a captivating encounter, isn't it, Josh?
Certainly is.
Oh, some good strikes there from Hempleman. Those combinations ending with a big right hand. Will McVeigh start to understand what Hempleman is trying to achieve here? Will he be able to turn this and start imposing his own will and creating some space between these two? McVeigh doesn't like easy fights. He once fought and won within about 40 seconds and said he went into a state of depression.
I mean, both guys Both guys have been to a decision multiple times, so we both know they can keep this kind of pace up over these 3 rounds. Again, McVeigh catching the single leg, not able to capitalize on it.
Really good movement from both of these guys. Light on their feet. Good head movement there from McVeigh. Because it's the setup off of that right hand that looks very dangerous from Hempleman. It's when he talks himself back round onto the left hook.
Yeah, very different guards from both guys
Hempleman's
here.
dropping his hands, Josh. He's got to be careful, and McVeigh sees that.
Yeah, he is a little bit. He's had a high guard for most of the fight. McVeigh's got a very open, more of a parrying guard. Both guys really starting to get into the match here.
Yes, when McVeigh gets close, he almost addresses a kind of peekaboo style. Yeah, good head movement there from McVeigh, and he's rolling with a lot of these shots as well. Not really able to stick much on Hempleman at this stage.
I think Hempleman perhaps getting through with just a few more shots at the moment. He's slowed down the rate on those kicks, though. I thought they were working very well for him during that first round.
Well, he might be a little bit nervous that he's going to get his leg picked. They're just so aggressive, those shots.
Really throwing everything
Heavy leather
into the
from
shots.
Hempleman. They are certainly night finishers if they connect. These two guys are smiling.
They're grinning at each other.
Absolutely. Well, at least they're having fun. They're both going to know that they've been in a battle, though, tomorrow. Both have taken quite a bit of punishment to the legs and the body. Hempleman is bleeding from the left brow. Good head movement there to avoid.
Yeah, he's really starting to be a little bit more dynamic himself now. Still most of the movement coming from McVeigh.
Yeah, and he's going to need to maintain that. McVeigh having a little bit more success in those last couple of seconds. Inside the final minute of round number 2.
I really like that they're both swinging in those opportunities when the other is striking. They're trying to follow each other back with strikes.
Are you a little surprised to see that McVeigh has a closer distance?
I genuinely am a little bit more. I know that he'd be expecting, you know, some good balance, some good wrestling from Hempleman, particularly as he used to do a lot of tumbling and that kind of thing. But
that's his home, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously at this stage McVeigh is comfortable absolutely everywhere. But you know, 12 of 18 wins have come by submission. I'd have thought he would have perhaps had a bit of an edge there.
Last 10.
Exchange of high kicks. These guys are really going for it on the feet.
Yeah, it's very tick for tat in there at the moment, Josh, isn't it? Neither are sort of alpha males, if you like, but if one hits a leg kick, the other's got to hit a leg kick, and we're having that with the head kicks and an exchange of punches as well.
Yeah, very, very close fight here.
Yes, the forward momentum that Hempleman's putting into his shots as well, and he's allowing, he's getting something on them. He's forcing McVeigh back. McVeigh, yeah, that was nice work. Just, I think, glanced across the body.
Both guys
Hempleman
getting some attention from our cutsman.
Yeah, some swelling now appearing on the face of McVeigh. So a strong finish to the evening with these guys who are Paul McVeigh heading to flyweight. Hempleman is a flyweight. In fact, McVeigh said the cut was so easy that he would have, in fact, have preferred to have made this a flyweight bout.
Yeah, I mean, he was very careful in cleaning up the quality of a lot of the food he was eating. You know, the diet, he did most of it with nutrition and really had to cut very little water weight. That, of course, meant he was very, very fresh down at this weight.
So third and final round here in Glasgow. Don't forget, we will, however, be back on New Year's Eve for Cage Warriors 51. We're over in Dublin, Ireland. What a fantastic end to the year that will be for the promotion, bringing the fans what they want. Conor McGregor will be looking to try and double up on his belts and nick the vacant lightweight title against Ivan Bushinga.
Yeah, what an atmosphere that's going to be in Dublin.
Sure, if anything like the last visit to Dublin was anything to go by.
Hempleman starting to press forward a little bit more now, throwing a few more shots and forcing McVeigh to cover.
Yeah, he got through with another right hand there.
Good show of sportsmanship as McVeigh accidentally strikes the groin of Hempleman, and they agree it was an accident, touch gloves and move on.
You're hearing the voices of John Gooden and Josh Palmer for Cage Warriors. We're at the Kelvin Hall in Glasgow. There's one of the first shots for McVeigh.
Yeah, he now looks for the single. Didn't manage to get in on the hips and paid with a short left hand on the way out.
Yeah, you can't go sleeping on this Hempleman as he seeks out a wild right hand.
I would like to see McVeigh go for a few more of those. Clearly he's made the decision that that might be something in the game plan for the closing moments of this fight.
Yeah, I have to say, though, I think Hempleman has the ability to stop the show. McVeigh at the moment doesn't look like he has it necessarily in winding things up for power. But that said, he's not really sort of doubling up the output either. Hempleman in very good condition, able to throw kind of 75% plus into everything that he comes with.
Yeah, the work rate and the cardio on these guys is incredible. I mean, it shows what high-level athletes they are.
Oh, for sure, elite-level athletes. The crowd now buoying on their son in Paul McVeigh. Oh, spinning elbow attempt. McVeigh trying to get creative here in the third. Hempleman does have this, when he's bouncing around, shifting his weight from left to right, he does sort of bring his right hand up and down, and even when he searches forward with his left hand, he drops the right hand. If McVeigh can slip and counter, very good awareness of his range, though, Hempleman.
Yeah, he really does, and he closes the distance on his strikes very well indeed.
Yeah, his footwork's not as good in this third round. He's crossing his feet over a little bit. He's getting him back in time to defend the strikes from Paul McVeigh. Now that's interesting. I just heard Hempleman's corner saying one at a time. It's almost encouraging him for single shots. So maybe they're just looking to pick apart McVeigh. And I have to say, as we get deeper into the fight, it seems to be working.
Yeah, he's scoring quite consistently now.
Yeah, every time that McVeigh throws, he's got a counter for him.
Yeah, and he certainly, if he doesn't find the target, he's finding the guard, and it's all forward pressure that's stacking up here against the adopted Scotsman, Paul McVeigh.
McVeigh just shaking out his hand there. Whether he
injured it earlier on, perhaps.
Or got it caught. He's not making a fist with that.
No, he's had it open and parrying for a lot of the fight.
Yeah, I'm taking a closer look at McVeigh's hand. I mean, I didn't... Oh, there it is. That is I didn't even hear the clapper there. That's the end of the contest. All 3 rounds go into the record books. And this is in the laps of the judges. A fast and furious pace to that contest. Let's take a look at some of the action from that 3rd round. Try and analyse who was having the better of it. And Hempleman there with the counter-striking, getting out the way and coming back as McVeigh was within that range. I thought Hempleman judged the range very well. Nice front kick from McVeigh. And again. But good, again, counter. You can see that Hempleman was set up for the counter-strike. Just threw a little bit more emphasis into his shots. And looking across to the Dinky Ninjas, they don't look too confident at the moment. Right, well, that is the appearance of Joe Martinez, which means we don't have to wait any longer. I'm going to hand it back to the cage, and let's get the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the scorecards. All 3 judges see it the same. 30-27, your winner by unanimous decision, Brandon Hot Rod Hempleman.
And there are applause here this evening, but he's certainly upset the crowd in defeating their man. But now Brandon Hempleman will have a chat with Josh.
I'm here with our winner, Brandon Hempleman. Brandon, you're the first person to defeat Paul McVeigh in the Cage Warriors cage. Tell us how you're feeling.
I feel great. I was about as nervous as I've ever been. I feel the best I've ever felt, and it's just an honor to fight him. I have a lot of respect for Paul. I knew he's just a tough SOB, so I trained my butt off for this.
He's known for his ground game amongst all his other attributes. You looked as though you were very comfortable on the feet there. Was that the game plan from the start?
Oh, definitely. I mean, my last fight, too, I was training for a good wrestler, so he got me down and it frustrated me, but I was already prepared for the shot, and I knew Paul was a jiu-jitsu black belt, and I didn't want to test him down there, so.
We saw in the first round when Paul did get in on that single leg, some of your balance and your acrobatics and your flexibility. How important is that gymnastics base to you in employing that in your fighting style?
It's huge. It's huge. I love it. It's a big part of my life. I've always been a competitor, and I'm a huge advocate for the sport. And I think, well, for my kids, I want them to be, I want them to be gymnasts. I just think it's a good base.
It was quite a long trip and a flight over here from Idaho for you. How have you enjoyed Glasgow and being in Scotland?
Oh, it's been a huge rush. I got a lot of family bloodline from the Scottish, and it was just huge to come over here. I mean, it feels great. A big experience, and I really appreciate this opportunity.
And fighting here on Cage Warriors, it's another level of show for you. The experience in general has been good with the promotion?
Best I've had with any promotion. You guys treated me great. I mean, very hospitable, and I really enjoyed my stay here. So.
Brandon, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here on Cage Warriors. It was an excellent performance from yourself. A lot of people probably watching you back home. Have you got some few words for them?
Thank you. I love you all. Your support means the world. I'd like to thank my coach, Carl Scalavos, and my fight team, Team Scalavos, Cesar Scalavos, David Bergara, my manager, Tom Supnet with Primal Tribe, all my buddies fighting in Boise with Combat Fitness, and just my dad for sponsoring me. I couldn't do anything with it. Between my dad and Carl Scalavos, Dana Hempleman, Carl Scalavos, they're all I got, so.
Well, Brandon, I'll let you go and get the celebrations underway. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for the winner of your main event, Brandon Hempleman. I'm here with Paul McVeigh. Paul, disappointment for you tonight. Give us your thoughts on the fight.
Yeah, I kind of didn't. Hats off to Brandon, he was awesome. I thought, like, the first round, I was planning to stand up with him and then try to take him down in second, but he did a really good job of kicking the shit out of my leg and made it hard to drive off anything. And then I caught a couple of his kicks, and his balance is ridiculous, man. Like, Yeah, he's a great fighter, and it was an honour to compete against him. To be honest, you know, it wasn't my best performance, but I really enjoyed that. It was quite fun, actually.
You made the cut down to this catch weight of 130 very easily. Are you going to stay down here at this division, in the flyweight division?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because like at 130, when I made 130 yesterday really easy, I was kind of going, I should have dropped all the way. I should have had more faith in my ability to do it. And I think flyweight's where I'm going to be. Brandon was like, hey, he's a strong dude. But yeah, it was really enjoyed the fight, and I see my future at flyweight now. Like, this fight showed a lot of things that I'm doing wrong, and I'm interested to correct them. I'm looking forward to it, actually. It'll be fun.
Huge support for you and the Dinky Ninjas here tonight.
Yeah, I kind of reckoned I ruined this perfect streak today, didn't I? Sorry, guys.
Well, Paul, Cage Warriors would not be Cage Warriors without you. It's always an honor to have you here in this cage and fighting for these fans. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Paul Metabolic McVeigh.
Honesty is always there from Paul McVeigh.